Okay, so today is a very special day for me. It's actually my daughter Shayna's 15th birthday. And thank you. And my dear bubby, Miriam Popak, it's her yahrzeit today. It's her 4th yahrzeit. And what's so, I don't know the right words, but Project Likutei Sichos, this project that we learn from every single week, started 4 years ago. And it was launched on Yud Shvat, which we're celebrating this Shabbos. Yud Shvat is the day that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away, and Yud Aleph Shvat is the day that our Rebbe accepted upon himself the leadership a year after the previous Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, passed away. So it's the day that the Rebbe gave us our marching orders, and the Rebbe didn't want to accept upon himself the leadership, and the Hasidim demanded it from him. So in that year, after the Frierdiker passed away, so the Rebbe would bring with the Hasidim, but he didn't take upon himself the leadership. And it was on the yahrzeit of his father-in-law. He was bringing with the Hasidim, and absolutely.
Was he a Cohen, the Rebbe?
No.
That's all.
Because the Rebbe's from Shevet Yehuda. Okay, so the Hasidim, so the Rebbe had to bring with the Hasidim, and a Hasid stood up and he said, the Sichos are wonderful, but we want a mimer. If the Rebbe would say a mimer, which is a Hasidic discourse, that would mean that he accepted upon himself leadership.
Kind of indirect.
So they had written letters and begging the Rebbe to accept upon himself the leadership. And when the Rebbe got serious, and then he started Basil Ganya Chaisikala, I've come to my garden, which was the mimer that the Frierdiker Rebbe had said, and the mimer of the previous Rebbe had 20 parts, and every year on Yud Shvat the Rebbe would teach a whole lesson about one part of his father-in-law's discourse. He would elaborate on one part. So Yud Shvat is a day when we reflect on our connection and our relationship with our Rebbe. So 4 years ago, this project began, Project Likutei Sichos began. And so my husband, who was in charge of the content for this project, it was actually Parshas B'Shalach that year. Parshas B'Shalach coincided with Yud Shvat. And so I was learning the teaching as well, and it was about Miriam, and my grandmother was in the hospital at the time. So I wrote a poem. And I said, and I gave it to my husband, and I said that it would be as a schos for a shlema for my grandmother. And then later that week, she passed away. So what I had written for a shlema ended up being a schos for neshama. And then last night, my mother wrote on our family WhatsApp, please do something special for Bubby. She was amazing. I have no words. It's another whole class to talk about my Bubby. But
You spoke about them. Yes, you did not.
yes. When I think of the beginning of Project Likutei Sichos, I think of my Bubby, and my mother requested that we all do, as her grandchildren, do something special. So I think it's so special to have this teaching on this special day. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
What was the name?
Miriam Bas Tzvi Hirsch, Popak. And the 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the Levaya was on Friday. So my husband drove me. Yes, I put on the flyer. So my husband drove me to Crown Heights, because first they would pass by 770, and then there wasn't enough time for my husband to go to the Beis HaChaim and come back to Tom's River. So he left me in Crown Heights, and I went with my family, and my husband came back to Tom's River for Shabbos. But that was a very special Shabbos where we celebrated her life, the whole family together. Yeah. So she should be a gutta better for her children, for her grandchildren, for all of us. And we should just have Mashiach immediately and have all of our loved ones with us.
Amen.
Okay. So this is a very, very interesting teaching. It incorporates so many things. We'll just go right in. Okay. So with this background information that that it's Parshas Bay, and it's also this week, and it's Parshas Bay, and in this parsha it says Vigadat Levincha. We have the mitzvah of chinuch to teach our children, to teach our children, to menchanech our kids. So with regards to Pesach, it's about the Exodus, the story that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. But in general, this concept of chinuch we learned from this parsha, and we're gonna learn from this teaching how we are supposed to educate our children. That's the underlying thread that we're gonna get to. That's our goal. To understand what it means, how to be mechanech children, and what it means true chinuch. So yeah.
Taking the course side of it, and it's a parenting course. And originally I thought, why do I have to take it? You know, my kids are grown already. But I have to tell you that I'm able to relate to my grandchildren better, and I'm able to relate to people around me better. So it's not just for little kids, it's for all of us.
You're talking about all the learning speak.
Kind of, yes.
Not necessarily a parenting part.
Well, that's how.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
She does.
and I just want to know that you're teaching us kind of not, oh, it's too late, I don't have little kids at home, but.
Yeah, we also have to educate ourselves.
Yes. Exactly, but I'm learning applies to myself.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I'm sorry, what did you say? What is it called?
I'm taking a course called Sight of the It's secrets of.
Soda Ha'adam. Soda is secret in Hebrew, Adam is person. Yeah, she just uses a Hasidic Havara, the way they speak.
Accent, yeah.
Accent.
Okay, so here we go. We start off with a story. When the Rebbe Rashab, who is the fifth Chabad Rebbe, Reb Shalom Dov Ber, when he was 3 years old, and he was going to Cheder, so the Tzemach Tzedek, his grandfather, showered candies, showered candies on him, threw candies at him, and he said, these candies are from Malach Michael, from the angel Michael, and the Rebbe Rashab, who was just 3 years old, he took it very seriously, and he saved the candies. He didn't eat them. How many children do you know at 3 years old would get candy? And he saved them and he cherished them. What is it?
Some of them are savory.
Some of them are savory, yeah. He saved the candies until Erev Pesach. Comes Erev Pesach, and Erev Pesach, we make sure, the last minute checking the kids' coat pockets and their briefcases, and and that Tzemach Tzedek calls his grandson, the Rebbe Rashab, and he says, where are those candies? He knew he hadn't eaten them. And the Tzemach Tzedek instructed him to eat the candies before Pesach, or before the time of Chametz, that's prohibited, before the time that Chametz is prohibited. And the $1 million question is, why? It was so dear to him, the candies. Why make him eat it? He wanted to save it. Why couldn't he sell it to a guy or make it hefker and then have it back after Pesach, and he could have it forever to remember the special moment?
Well, that's a harder concept for a kid. The whole Pesach thing is too hard of a kid, concept to tell him at 3 or 4 years old.
Okay, so we're gonna see. This is the story that we're gonna delve into, and we're gonna understand. Welcome. Okay. So we're gonna understand from this story. I'll just recap. We're sharing a story about the fifth Chabad Rebbe. When he was 3 years old, his grandfather threw candies at him and said that it's from Malach Michael. And he cherished those candies so much. He was a boy of 3 years old. And when it came Erev Pesach, his grandfather told him that he has to eat the candies. They can't sell it with the chametz. he has to eat it. And the question is, why would his grandfather make him sell it? It was so precious to him. Why couldn't he save it forever and keep it and remember this special moment? Because he was born in the year 1860. His grandfather passed away in 1866. So, he was 6 years old when his grandfather passed away. He could have had these candies to remember his grandfather, that special one for a lifetime. And here he was forced to eat it. And the question is why? Okay, so I'm using the poem. It's not complete, but I'm just using it as my notes. You could share along. When the Rebbe Rashab of blessed memory began going to Cheder so that Torah he could study, his grandfather, the Tzemach Tzedek, threw at him candy so sweet. He said that from Malach Michael came this treat. To the Rebbe Rashab, these candies were so dear. He saved them until Erev Pesach that year, when by his grandfather to eat them he was told, with the rest of the chametz, why couldn't the candies be sold? Okay, we could think that the Tzemach Tzedek gave this instruction because since the boy wanted the candy so badly, the sale would be a deception. Okay, so there's a concept in halacha that if you want something very badly, if you really want something, then to sell it to a guy, to keep it for yourself after Pesach, could be problematic. The starter of the sourdough. So Emma, what does everyone do?
I'm upset that we can just sell.
We could just sell it.
A lot of people get fresh
Sure.
sourdough, fresh starter,
Yeah, but there-
make a fresh starter after.
But it takes like.
It's a very personal thing.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
die if you don't have
6
sourdough the first shot is happening. I mean, like, really.
Right. But let me ask you a question. Alcohol, okay, or mashke, right? So if I sell it to a guy, and let's say the guy would say to me, listen, I'll give you the identical bottle of mashke, a different one. Would you care? The mashke itself doesn't have sentimental value. It's just that you don't want to lose money. It's a financial thing. It's not that it has sentimental value. But here, because this child desired these specific candies, if he went to the store and say, oh, I'll give you different candies in exchange, it wouldn't be the same. So if someone really, really wants something, it could, there are those people that say that selling it will be a problem because during Pesach, you want that thing to still exist. So it could be problematic. So you could say the reason why the Tzemach Tzedek instructed him to eat the candies is because he wanted them so badly. That could be a problem in halacha, and therefore he had to eat them. Another consideration is that in halacha, there's a concept that in halacha, the whole concept of selling chametz to a guy is really kind of like a little bit dishonest or like a trick, you could think.
Sale means you're giving up something.
Right.
And when you give up something,
You don't get it back.
you're not supposed to get it.
You're not supposed to get it back.
It sounds like the.
You sign a contract.
People do whatever, fine, if that's what they want to do.
Right.
But
So-
if you really think about what selling is.
Right.
It's getting rid of it, not for the purpose of getting it back, but
For the money.
purpose of being out of your life.
100%. So let me explain the background of what's going on. Okay. How do we get away with selling chametz and getting it back after? Okay. What's going on here? So according to the Torah, what's forbidden, you see, chumash is good. Okay. You're right. It's fine. It's fine. According to Torah, what is forbidden? You can't own chametz. It can't be in your possession. Bal yira'eh uval yimatzeh. It shouldn't be seen by you, and it shouldn't be found by you. You shouldn't own chametz on Pesach. So it's very simple. What could I do? I'll say, hefker. I'm disowning it. Now I don't own it. So now I have no problem. I didn't do anything. I have no problem of this. In the Torah says I'm not allowed to own chametz on Pesach. It's a prohibition according from the Dairaisa, from the highest level. So I just say, okay, it's not mine. I don't own it. And then I'm fine from the Torah, from the Torah's perspective. But what's the problem? If I say hey guys, it's not mine, I don't own it, there's two problems. Problem number one is that who's to know how much I meant it? How much did I mean it? If I say, it's in my house, oh, it's hefker, anyone can have it, but no one knows that I said that, or no one heard me outside, and I know that no one's really coming into my house to take it just because I claimed that it's hefker. So it could be that in my heart, I said, yeah, it's hefker, anyone could have it, but no one knows that I said it, and no one's coming from the street to take my stuff, so I know that pretty much my stuff is safe, number one.
And
And
if
number
you stood outside and said Hefker, you're gonna have people just coming to take your stuff.
Right. Put it
That's
out.
the other side. No, not if you don't put it out, but if you just say, okay, Hefker, stand on the front porch and say Hefker.
So-
Besides that, non-Jews won't know what Hefker means.
Right.
Associated with Paisa, because there's another thing we say in Paisa that, do we really mean do
That's another whole teaching. That's another whole teaching. I'm rusty on that one, so I'm gonna have to do some homework. Yeah, exactly. So she's asking the same question when it comes to Hilach Man. You say all the hungry people come and eat. You should have said that in shul. What are you saying it now when everyone's already home? The door is closed. Okay, so my door is closed, and I say Hefker. Anyone can have it. It's ownerless. Hefker means it's ownerless. It's ownerless. So first of all, in order for it to truly be Hefker, I have to mean it with all my heart. How do you know what the person meant when he said Hefker? That's one problem. And problem number two is that it's still in my house. So I could wake up in the middle of the night and I'm very hungry or I'm very thirsty and I'm in such a deep sleep and I forgot that it's Pesach. And then it's in my house. So I just take this thing that's chametz. I'm in the mood of a piece of chocolate cake and I forgot that it's Pesach, and then because it's in my house and I'm so accustomed to eating chametz a whole year, God forbid a person could eat it. So therefore, the Chachamim said, the sages came and said, saying that it's hefker, I don't own it. True, according to the Torah, you're 100% fine. But the Chachamim have an extra precaution. Take your stuff, put it in the cabinet, lock it up, sell it to a guy. True, there's a little bit of dishonesty here. True, it's a little bit of a deception over here that you're saying that you're selling it, but really in the back of your mind, you know that you're really getting it back. But it's okay because from the Torah front, I have my bases covered. This is just like an extra step that I shouldn't come to, to eating something that's chametzik on Pesach, or that that I shouldn't say that it's hefker and not fully mean it. So to cover my bases, not just from a biblical perspective, but to cover my bases from a rabbinic perspective as well, we have this concept of selling
But there's
the
really a thing,
chametz.
like, once you sell it and you close that cabinet, like, you don't touch it, it's like not yours, like, it's like by mistake, you have little kids that open it, so you quickly close it.
It belongs to the guy,
You know?
right?
And yet, it's like,
Exactly. And yet if the guy would take it, right, so it's a little bit deceiving. So if I just say, listen, I'm taking my pots, I'm putting them in my chametz, whatever it is, and I'm putting it in the cabinet, I'm locking up the cabinet, and it's a little bit of a trick, okay, fine. But so it's a deception, but it's a deception on this level. But if there's something that's very, very precious to me, it's priceless to me, and I say I'm selling it. But really in my mind, I haven't sold it for a second. I haven't given up even one iota of it because I so desperately want it. So now the deception of selling the chametz is on this level. So we could say that from a halachic perspective, because the child wanted the candy so much, there's two problems. Because if you want something very, very, it's interlinked. A, if you want something very, very much, and B, if the deception of the selling is such a high level, right? Then who are you fooling? So for those two reasons, from a halachic perspective, the Tzemach Tzedek instructed him to eat the candies. However, the halacha is that the sale has great power. It doesn't matter if the chametz a person does desire. The truth is, according to halacha, it doesn't matter if the kid is wants fat candies like crazy. It doesn't matter. a sale is a sale, and it doesn't matter how much a child desires it. So from a halachic perspective, there is no problem. There is no problem to sell the candies and get it back after Pesach. Halachically, it's fine because as much as the child desires it, it doesn't matter how much how dishonest the sale seems. It's a complete sale, and halachically, the candies could have been sold. So why weren't they? That's one. So that was one avenue. One avenue was that we could sell it. Another avenue is to make it hefker. So a little bit touched upon that. So the other option is you could say, the child could have said, this is ownerless, and then he could have retrieved it after Pesach. And we're going to see how that could have been done. Because we were speaking about this whole hefker thing. We said that part of the problem is that if it's in my house, I who knows if I really meant it, and I might just come to use it. So what if the child could have done something else? He could have taken this candy, gone to some alleyway, find some corner where he doesn't think anyone's going to go, and put it in the alley. Therefore, it's not in his house. And then after Pesach, he could come there and dig up his treasure. And then he said, when he was outside by the alley, he said, it's hefker, anyone could take it, but no one knows that he said it. No one saw him say it. And he runs back home. And after, we're talking about a 3-year-old child, yes. But we're talking about a Rebbe. We're talking about a Rebbe. But the story is told to us, so it's a lesson for us. So, yeah. But this child at 3 years old did appreciate the candy and he realized the holiness of it. Okay, so why didn't paragraph 4? Why didn't the Tzemach Tzedek say that the Rashab should put the candies? The Rashab is a short form for Rabbi Shalom Dave Ber. Should put the candies in an alleyway and declare that they are hefker and have no owner, and retrieve them when Pesach would be over. So we took the channel of selling it. We said halachically that's fine. Now we're going to the option of making it hefker, and we're figuring out according to halacha would hefker how would that play out? Okay. So as we said, in order to make something hefker, it is necessary for the person to declare that the chametz is ownerless verbally. And he must also do it with sincerity and give it up wholeheartedly. Saying that something is hefker is not enough, the Chachamim explain, because if in the person's home the chametz does remain, since he is used to eating chametz all year, he might make a mistake and eat some chametz like cereal, bread, or cake. So, declaring that the chametz is hefker and putting it in an outdoor place would seem like a good solution, but it is not the case. Because since we don't know if the declaration was fully felt in the heart, halacha says that after Pesach, from the chametz, no Jew can benefit or take part. Okay, so what do we just read over here?
Like this little kid, right? He could put it away, whatever. Then he could come check on it. Then it's a little kid, even if it's a Rebbe, the age is 3. So even if the age is 3 turned into 7, 7-year-olds like to protect their turf, that's my thing. I don't know.
Okay, so
Exactly, a whole young people.
yeah. So according to making it hefker, the problem halachically would be that you have to say that it's that it's ownerless, and you have to feel it. The Tzemach Tzedek might think or thought, let's say if we go this route, that the 3-year-old in his heart, he can't fully relinquish the candies, and therefore it's not really hefker. One of the conditions for hefker is that with your whole heart you gave it up, that you said it's ownerless with your whole heart. A 3-year-old kid who really, really wants the candies, we can't know if he gave it up with all of his heart. Therefore, the hefker thing might not work, and that's what maybe he didn't give him the idea to make it hefker, because one of the conditions of hefker is that is that you have to do with all your heart. And here, how do we know if this kid is going to do it with all his heart or not?
Yeah, but I'm talking about three. It doesn't have like.
What is it?
It's only three. It doesn't have the price around it. Like, isn't it a little
Oh,
bit lenient? in
Oh,
that sense?
so he's only 3.
Yeah.
And so technically he doesn't own anything. True, true. So his father or his father should have done it for him, because anything that a child owns doesn't really own. It
But you
really his
keep on
father
saying
owns it.
You keep on somehow saying three, so that's why I'm getting.
Yeah. No. So the Rebbe addresses this. The Rebbe says that technically he's just a child and technically doesn't own anything, and he doesn't have the possibility to sell it or to make it hefker. He's too
Right.
small. He doesn't understand what it even means.
It is, so that's a problem, because if you don't get rid of it, and then he's gonna get on Pesach and then find the wrapper, okay, then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so-
There's a lot of damage.
Oh, that's another thing. That's another whole thing that we're going to come to in 1 minute. And that is, what is candy already? How much chametz do you think the candy possesses already?
Why, sugar and water, it's good.
Wow.
I just think it's interesting.
It's very
I did
interesting.
do it outside my house because I didn't want to be undigging the whole.
Wow.
Since I ran the park.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Whatever, it was like, goodbye.
Wow.
Yeah, because again, he told me he was ready, he wasn't
Right,
actually
just
during
to be
the day.
ready.
He was actually, he was before, so
Wow.
he was just in the proposal, and he told me I'm ready.
Was he saying-
But I think it's very interesting you're using it.
Yeah.
I specifically did not do it right outside
I'm very impressed.
our place.
You're smart.
If he changes his mind. I don't know.
You never know. You might just have to go to the park and get it. Wow.
I'm like, I'm in the park.
He buried the pacifier in the park.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You didn't fit over there in the lake? People don't do that.
Yeah, he loves digging.
Oh, okay, so maybe,
Yeah.
maybe he knows
Wow.
the park so well, because if it's in the park, it's part of it. Well, next time he goes to a park, he'll go, we go visit, he's smart, we go visit my castle.
Okay.
Smart
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
So,
Thinks ahead, he could say in the
Yeah,
garbage, he did it.
we decided where.
Oh, you decided.
Yeah.
I love that.
so here there's a concept here, and that is that if a person didn't fully relinquish the chametz after Pesach, you can't benefit from it. So if if the child didn't relinquish the chametz fully, the candies fully, then afterwards he can't benefit from it. Okay,
Does
so
that mean we can't use our helmets?
okay,
I'm saying,
so
like,
do
we
you want to know
we're
practically?
getting it back.
Okay, so we're going to see practically what we actually do, and we're going to see why halachically hefker isn't a problem. Why halachically for the child to say that it's hefker wouldn't be a problem. We think that it is a problem because he's not ready to give it up fully, and then he can't benefit from it after Pesach. But we're gonna, in a couple of minutes, we're gonna see why, even according to even for the hefker approach to make it ownerless, even that wouldn't have been a problem for the child. Okay. In parentheses, therefore, just to clarify what we do. Therefore, what we practically do is we sell our chametz to a non-Jew. But if a Jew didn't sell his chametz in time for some reason, to make his chametz hefker and put it outside is his only option. He does this to fulfill his Torah obligation of not seeing or finding any chametz in his possession. But after the Pesach holiday, no Jew can benefit from the chametz in any way. Because if it was possible to just say, oh, it's hefker, and then come back and get it after Pesach, everybody would do that. And therefore, oh, that's another, okay, that's another. So this, in this case, the time of burning happened. In this case, the time of giving it to the guy already passed. Once that time passes, then once Pesach comes, you can't sell it to a guy once it's Pesach already. And it is true that we're supposed to burn the chametz. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that as well.
We
We-
don't burn bottles of liquor, a lot of people.
Yeah, if you find chametz on Pesach. Okay, so in this scenario, what we burn the chametz and we say that it's hefker. When we burn the chametz, we say kol chamira, right? So we are making it hefker. So we're basically covering all our bases. But there's a million good questions here. Absolutely. So going back to the story. Why is it that for this boy to make it hefker would not have been a problem according to halacha? There's a few reasons. First of all, this whole thing that the Chachamim established of of selling it and the whole process of and making it hefker, everything was for all of us. But this story is an exceptional story. It's very unique. It's not every day that you have a situation where you have a 3-year-old child who values something so much that particular chametz he values and you can't exchange it with anything else. So it's a very, very unique situation. So it could be the Chacham knew about this story. They would have said, he's just a child and this is a unique situation, so it's okay to say that it's hefker, and to hide it in the alleyway. Additionally, so first of all, okay, to make something hefker that you want to take back doesn't work usually, but this case is out of the ordinary. So number one, it's out of the ordinary. Again, also, because the Rashab had no intention of ever eating or selling the candy, and because chametz and candy is nullified by 60. So there's 3 reasons why it's not a problem according to halacha for the child to say it's hefker and to hide it in the alleyway. Number one, it's an extraordinary situation. Number 2, the whole problem is if you said my food is hefker because you didn't have a chance to sell it to a guy, there was no guy that you could sell it to, right? And after Pesach, the penalty is that you can't benefit from it. The child was never planning to eat it, and he was never going to sell it. He was just going to keep it. He was never going to eat it. So it's a very interesting situation. He wasn't going to eat it during Pesach and have leftover, and you'll find the leftover wrappers of the candy because it was so precious to him, even at the age of 3. So he was never going to eat it. He was never going to benefit from it. So we don't have a problem with, that oh, maybe he's going to benefit from after Pesach, and then oh, that's a problem. To benefit from it is a problem. If someone makes something hefker, to benefit from it after Pesach is a problem. But here he's not going to benefit from it after Pesach because he's not going to eat it or sell it.
Maybe he would have. Maybe he would have wanted to taste it a little bit when he was 4. I made cookies with the kids and Hanukkah, and then last week I said, have the cookies. Oh, I have it in the freezer.
Wow.
So if they had 5 cookies, why are they putting it in the freezer? Why don't they eat it? They're saving it. I don't know what they're saving it for.
Okay, but this child, according to the story, was not planning on ever eating it or selling it. Okay, and additionally, how much chametz is there in this candy anyway? On Pesach, if you find a little bit of chametz, it's not the bottle. It's not nullified. If you have a pot with 60 times chicken soup and 1 drop of a crumb falls in on Pesach, you cannot eat it.
You cannot.
No.
So there's
Usually,
no batal b'shishim.
there's no batal b'shishim with chametz on Pesach. But before Pesach, if a drop of chametz is inside the candy, there's 60 times more kosher ingredients, and 1 little bit of whatever they put in candy that could possibly make you chametz. It's so minute, and there's 60 times more permissible, then it becomes batal. We're talking about candy. We're not talking about a chocolate brownie. So for these 3 reasons, halachically, it would have been okay for him to hide it in the alleyway. Because it's an extraordinary case. B, he was never planning on eating it or enjoying it. No problem. Thank you for coming. And 3, there's the chances of chametz being in there are so minute in any case. So basically, up until now, we took 2 different routes. We said, why was he forced to eat it? Why couldn't he sell it? And we proved that selling it was okay according to halacha, because a sale is a complete sale. So even if he wanted it so much, and even if selling it seems to be a deception, still a sale is a sale, and there would have been no problem just because he desired it so much. So halachically, to sell it would have been permissible. To make it hefker would also have been permissible because it was an extraordinary situation. He's never planning to eat or enjoy the or eat or sell the candy, and we don't even know if there's even any chametz in the candy. Okay. Okay, that was the hard part. Okay, going back to our original question of why eating the candies was necessary, we can understand by looking at what the minhag of Hasidim was previously. They would eat and drink any chametz that by the Rebbe they were given because they felt that it was disrespectful to sell it before Pesach to Goyim. So we have Taira, we have halacha, and we have minhag. We have customs. Customs are very, very important. So, what was the minhag? What was the custom Hasidim? That they would not sell. They would not sell something that they got from the Rebbe, even though we proved halachically that selling or making it hefker would have been permissible. Okay, but at least here was a child, but at least for sure selling would have been permissible, even if you desire it so much. But Hasidim didn't do it. They ate it before or drank it. If it was mashke or if it was honey cake, we would get lekach from the Rebbe. They would eat it before Pesach. Okay.
Is that because it was from the Rebbe or that was everything?
No, it was because it was from the Rebbe. Regular stuff, there are different opinions, but many opinions are that you could just lock up the cake. Yes. Okay. So here we go. Okay. So basically, when the Rebbe, when a Rebbe gives something to somebody, he takes when he gives it to you, when he gives it, first it's in his possession. He owns it, and then he gives it to you. So being that he owned it and was in his possession, when a Rebbe gives something, the object is holy. The object is holy, and we're gonna go in depth to understand what this means. Because it's holy, it would be disrespectful to put it into the possession of a non-Jew, which is very interesting. We're gonna go into this in depth. Okay. Additionally, we need to ask another question. Does the holiness remain after it leaves a Jew's possession? The answer depends on how far goes the chametz prohibition. Is the essence affected, or is it just the form of the food that we see that is forbidden? Okay. If, let's say, a person has cake or mashke from a Rebbe, and they consider it to be holy, and they sell it to a guy. When they get it back, does the item retain its holiness or not?
I'd say no.
You say no. Okay.
Say yes, because it was really in your house and in your possession the whole time.
Okay, but the sale was a complete sale.
They're coming to
Okay.
sale, but they're not coming to get it.
So this is the question. If you
Then can you say when you get kashal bracha and then you mix other grape juice to keep it going for the whole year and a half? I don't even know where mine is for 5 years. Then how much of the holiness got retained?
But this is different. This is different because if you it was a complete sale. It left your ownership and it went to a guy's ownership. When it comes back to you, does it retain the holiness? So this teaching.
If you say that, can you sell wine that's not muvashal?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
It's no longer belongs to you.
Because wine that's mevushal can't be touched or opened by a non-Jew.
But it's not being touched for.
If it's not being touched.
But it's a sale.
Right,
So
it's a sale, but does the sale make it?
So that's the question.
If he owns it, then could you, one second, could you buy non-mevushal wine from a non-Jew?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you could, then it's fine.
I'm sorry, I
Unless What is it? Is wine chametz? Another question. Wine is not chametz. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we,
It's open, you're not, it's worthless after.
yeah, okay. So that was it was a hypothetical question because wine is not chametz. Okay, perfect. Okay, so phew. Okay, so that was a good catch. Okay, so this discussion goes hand in hand with the teaching that we learned last week. Last week, and I discussed it last week. But the question is, when you sell something, how much are you selling? And when I sell the bread or I sell the cake, am I selling it as a cake, or am I selling the essence of this item? Now, we're talking theoretically because practically I can't separate the essence and the form when I sell it in a legal, practical sale. I can't separate it. But from a theoretical perspective, when I'm selling the chametz, what am I selling? Am I selling the form, or am I also selling the essence? We discussed this last week about the makos. If how deep did the impurity go? Was it a makkah that contained? Was it a makkah that had 4 plagues in it, or was it a makkah that had 5 plagues in it? If it was 4 plagues in it, then it's only the form. It's the 4 elements of it. And if the plague was 5 plagues in each plague, then it also hit the essence. So if I only sold the form and the essence is intact, then I could sell the cake to the guy. And then when I get it back, I never sold the essence. I only sold the form. So the holiness stays. But if you're going to say that the sale is that the sale is also the essence, then the holiness doesn't come back.
Okay,
Since you can't separate.
Okay, I'll try again.
I know you get. What do you mean? It
Okay.
goes together. What
Right. So practically it goes together 100%, and therefore the Hasidim ate the food before Pesach. But
So that's holiness, you got an apple from the Rebbe, eat it. Because that's what I want to say, the holiness. That whole thing, you know.
Yeah, but let's.
No, you don't. You eat the cake, you put it a little bit in here, a little bit in here.
Apples, I got apple from, my son came to the chassid, we brought him apples. I said, I'm gonna make, apple kugel, I'm making a compote, so then you can have more of it, because it becomes part of the whole.
yes.
It becomes part of the whole, so we can enjoy it
From the
more than
regular
just
point.
the apple.
So
We don't spend it.
You don't spend it.
There-
Right. Absolutely.
Right, but food is a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
It also goes in with you, the Rebbe, I guess we didn't see, makes a bracha before people make the bracha and food, that's a whole reason.
Okay, so we're gonna get there. Okay. So basically, so do you understand? You understand what? It's theoretical. It's theoretical. In theory, if the chametz was sold, when I get it back, is it still holy? So there's 2 opinions. The opinion is did I sell the essence, or did I just sell the form? Did I just sell what I could see with my eyes? Did I sell what I could see with my eyes, or did I sell the essence of it? If I sold the essence of it, then the holiness doesnn't stay.
Basically,
Okay.
in this kind of sale, you just sell.
So what's the point of selling it?
Right, then there wouldn't be a point of selling it. You might as well eat it. Okay.
They didn't sell it, they're just.
I was gonna ask the
Okay.
same question, really, a non-Jew doesn't get the essence, so really not selling with the essence. Because they don't have the essence beyond servants. Right?
Okay, so guess what? This is a halachic discussion. This is not.
Probably very similar to this. I see that our master.
Wow.
The Jew has to be the one to take it versus the other opinion, which people eat things that are not healthy well.
That baked by a Jew.
Could be baked by a Jew. According to this, probably the Jew has to be the one to bake it.
Wow.
Right? I don't know.
Okay, you're touching very good points, and yeah. Okay, so we're gonna address all of this. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda, like we learned in last week's teaching, Rabbi Yehuda holds that the prohibition goes to the core. So after selling the candies, they wouldn't remain holiness in them anymore. But Rabbi Shimon says that the prohibition doesn't go so deep. The essence and the holiness of the food the Jew does keep. Okay, what's the halacha? The halacha is that the prohibition doesn't reach so far. It's true. And therefore, if over Pesach, chametz was in the possession of a Jew, we would be allowed to benefit from it because after Pesach, the Isser goes away, but we don't to show the Jewish chametz owner that he acted in the wrong way. Okay, I need some commas. Okay, so basically the halacha is that when you sell your stuff when you sell your chametz to a non-Jew, you're only selling it the form. You're not selling the essence. Okay, so therefore, when Pesach is over, if there was a Jewish person who owned ShopRite, who owned a store, right, and did not sell his chametz, are you allowed to enjoy that chametz, or are you allowed to benefit from that chametz or not? So according to Rabbi Shimon, now that there's no prohibition on chametz anymore, you would be allowed to eat it, but we don't because we want to penalize, we want to give a consequence to the Jew who didn't sell his chametz. But technically, the prohibition, it didn't go to the essence, because if the prohibition went to the essence, then it would be forbidden. It could never become undone. Once the essence once the essence becomes forbidden, then it could never become okay again. So basically, the halacha is
because a piece of cake is the essence and the cake are together. Right? So you're saying that it's. I'm sorry.
yeah. I'm saying it's only in theory. It's not practically. It's not practically. So in theory, the sale doesn't go to the essence, and therefore, after Pesach, technically, once chametz is not forbidden anymore, you could partake of anything, but we don't, just because we want to teach a lesson to the person who didn't sell his chametz that it wasn't okay. Okay, I know that this is very, very complex. Okay.
My husband sells cereals and the stores stock up heavily before Pesach. So
Wow.
that's in their possession.
Wow.
Therefore, that way you can be assured when you're going to a kosher supermarket that it was sold.
Wow. Okay, very interesting. Okay. Although in theory, in chametz, the holiness does remain, from selling food and drink from the Rebbe, Hasidim would refrain, because you can't sell something without its essence, practically and legally, and Hasidim didn't want to give holy power to the side of impurity.
That's nice.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if I would have sold the cake, the holy cake, technically when I get it back, the holiness does stay in it. But the Hasidim would not do that. Hasidim would not do that because they didn't want that for 8 days, the holiness should be in the hands of people that are not Jewish. And so we see two things. We see the respect for a Rebbe, and we see power, holy power, versus that shouldn't fall into the hands of impure people. That it's a real thing. Okay.
Story of the Rebbe when he was running away from the Torah.
Yes.
Made sure that every last possession.
Right. And he left and then he came back to find a slipper and something else in a pot because he didn't want that Napoleon should get a handle on any of his possessions because it would have been very detrimental. So he made sure that the Napoleon, and he burnt down the house, that the Napoleon shouldn't be able to get a hold of any of the Alter Rebbe's possessions, because the Alter Rebbe was on the side of the Russians. Also, there's a story about bringing the Alter Rebbe that when the Alter Rebbe was on a boat when he was in jail. That the jail was on an island, that no one should escape. But they interrogated the prisoners on the other across the water. So if you had to get interrogated, you would go. The boat would come and take the prisoner from the prison to the offices where the interrogators were. So the Alter Rebbe was on a boat, and it was a full moon, and he wanted to do Kiddush Levana. So he asked the captain of the boat to stop. And the captain of the boat said, no, I'm not stopping. What do you think this is? You're a prisoner. You can't tell me what to do. So miraculously, the Alter Rebbe got the boat to stop by itself. And he said one paragraph, and then he allowed the boat to continue. Then he asked again permission from the captain to stop. And then the captain said, okay, he realized how holy the Alter Rebbe is, and he agreed to stop. And he said, on condition that you give me a piece of paper and you write blessings for my family. And the Alter Rebbe did this. And this non-Jew, this piece of paper was very dear to him. He framed it and he hung it in his house passed from generation to generation. And there was a chassid that actually saw this letter, and one of the Rebbeim commented that it was very unusual for a non-Jew to possess something that belonged to holiness. So this whole concept of holy, impurity, and holiness, this is real stuff. This is real stuff, as you see from the story of the Alter Rebbe running away from Napoleon. But if it's not just, it's really true. The holy, that we're the chosen nation and we're holy. And it's not a joke. It's really, 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 really real. And we should know how lucky we are. Okay.
In the non-Jewish world, there's a concept of homeopathic medicine. And if you send it to a lab, they can't find anything in it. But it goes all the way down to so diluted that just the energy itself heals.
Wow.
And we use it a lot, and it's Baruch Hashem. If Hashem wants, it helps. But there is a power in essence. That's what I'm trying to say. Even in the non-Jewish world, they know that there's a power in essence.
Right. But you can't compare the power of a Jew. Even when you're talking about power with energy, you can't compare a Jew and a non-Jew. It's
two separate.
Yeah, two separate worlds. And
Once we had a whole teaching on this with something, maybe it's his attorney, I think. And Meryl was on the Zoom, and she was, what, it can't be, I never listened to the Jew.
so some people they don't know. They don't know. They feel like, this is a human being. This is a human being. What's the difference? But in Parak Aleph Tanya, which I taught last week.
How it was over how did they how did Kriyas Yamsuf happen, and the whole teaching was all on.
So absolutely, how is it that the Jews were saved and the Egyptians weren't, and it came Makas B'chayres, and it's not a very easy thing to go to each house and find.
Right, one was only in the non-Jews cup.
Right. How could it be that a Jew and a non-Jew should drink from the same cup, and the Jew gets water and the non-Jew gets blood? What's going on? So in Tanya and Parak Aleph it explains that the makeup, the essence of a Jew versus the essence of a non-Jew. The essence of a Jew, let's just talk about the animal soul. Forget about besides, in addition to touching upon the fact that only a Jew has a godly soul, but just the animal soul. There's a difference between the essence of a Jewish animal soul and a non-Jew's animal soul. A Jewish animal soul comes from klipa, comes from a shell, comes from a peel, but what kind? Klipas noiga, a translucent shell. While the non-Jews, their essence, their animal soul comes from the three impure klipas, the three impure shells. So it's a totally different story. There's zero comparison, and for the kedusha of a piece of cake to go into the hands of people that their essence is from the three impure klippas is a problem, and it's disrespectful, and it's a problem.
So now, are some people who will take their challah that they bake, and sometimes they'll be very nice.
Very well.
Really nice. Good.
Interesting, interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Like, you're getting rid of things here, not say what's fine, you're getting rid of it from it. Versus you have intention, not necessarily.
Yeah, like now when you're saying that, my child's already 6 weeks old, so I could give her my bokala because it's at the end
It's
already.
kosher halal,
Not
and
thinking
how
about
to
it.
use it, maybe with bacon. Now, what do you do with that?
No, they can't eat it with
They
bacon.
can. You can.
No, they eating it in my house.
Oh, in your house.
Yeah, instead of me buying the kosher bagels.
Oh, it's going to
I
be
didn't
to
kosher
her
food
house.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now I didn't have any more bagels and I'm thinking, oh, okay, but I know I have a few more
Well,
bagels.
it's in your possession, not her possession, right?
Yeah,
Very
no,
inter-
she
very
made-
interesting.
She made a bracha when she took the cow.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think there's any kind of prohibition,
It's
and
just
also
the
we're not on the
opposite.
same, yeah, also we're not on the same level of a tzaddik, but of course you made a bracha on it. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Like when I yeah, I'm not saying to give out challah to non-Jews necessarily, but me personally, if I bring challah to a doctor's office to do it to a Jewish doctor, I would also bring bokalach for the nurses, just that they shouldn't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. But it's a good question. It's a good question. Okay. So we said that that Chassid wouldn't sell the holy cake to non-Jews that shouldn't be in their possession. Additionally, Hasidim wouldn't make food or drink from the Rebbe hefker either. To say, oh, it's hefker, they wouldn't do that either. It's ownerless. Why? Because of their respect for their teacher and leader. Making it hefker. Okay, so yeah, I only wrote one part in the poem, but making it hefker has two problems. If I say something's hefker, there's two options what that means. Either it belongs to nobody or it belongs to everybody, to 8 billion people on this planet, right? So according to either way, if I say it's only if it belongs to nobody, that's disrespect, a holy object. And you're saying, oh, it belongs to nobody, I don't care about it. And if you say that it belongs to the whole world, then it means that again, the impurity is full, that the holiness is falling into the hands of the klipa, of the three impure klippas. Now, I'm just coming to me right now. It's such a big deal for something that's holy to fall into the category of the three impure klippas. Now, guess what? We have a lot of power because 99% of the things that come our way are in the level of klipas naiga, the translucent shell. And it stays in the translucent, in that state of klipas naiga until we show up. When we show up, we have a choice. We could take this item and elevate it and make it holy by eating it to serve Hashem and making a bracha, or we could take this thing and if we don't use it properly, for at least temporarily, it goes into the three impure klippas, which we're explaining how we're learning this whole back and forth
Really
class.
this whole candy is that how powerful, just be candy. But it's not, because you got it from a Rebbe.
Right, but the power that we have, if a person speaks lashon hara, for example, where those words go into the three impure klippas, and we're working so hard to prevent holiness from falling into that category. So we should. I'm just realizing this now. We have to be careful. We have to be careful because we are entrusted. Hashem entrusts us with this power that every single day, every single thing that we come in contact with, from every bite of food that we eat, to what we wear, to what we buy, to everything in our lives, that we could elevate it to holiness, or it could stay where it is, or chas v'shalom not to allow the impure. What a shame to allow our words or our thoughts or our actions to fall into the category of the three impure klippas. Said the Hasidim wouldn't sell it. And they wouldn't say anyone could have it. It's it belongs to everybody. So that for 8 days, people that are our enemies shouldn't and they don't even know about it. They're not even coming to get to claim the cake. But just the possibility of them taking possession of something holy, we don't want to give them that power.
Thought that it's effective.
Just the thought of it. Just the thought of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does it connect the center?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Go over almost there.
Okay,
Okay, we have one more line in the poem, then we're gonna go to the chinuch. Okay. Making it hefker makes it accessible to every person that does live, and to our enemies, such a power we don't want to give. Up until here, this is where I got to in the poem. Okay. I didn't get to the lesson in the writing. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the lesson. What is the lesson here? When it comes to educating our children, we shouldn't think I should only educate them and only tell them about things that they could understand. I'll tell them about a mitzvah, I'll tell them about kosher, but my feelings, my convictions, my values, that they're too young for. But rather, if you feel that something is holy, or if something inspires you, share with your child, even at the age of 3. Don't feel like, oh, they're not equipped for this, or they can't understand this, or they don't understand what holiness is, or they can't understand that Hashem is everywhere. No, teach them. Hashem is everywhere, even though you can't see. Emunah, bitachon, all these concepts, you think it's too high for them. They can't understand that. But no, if you feel it, if you know it, if it's holy to you, you impart that to your child.
Can I say it in a clear way?
Yeah.
Feeling, they feel your feelings more than if you don't share. You don't have to explain it in high language, just simply by, they feel it if you don't share. So it's best if you do share in a simple way that they understand and they're feeling your feelings.
Yeah.
If you hide it, you're taking something away from them.
But don't be shy. Don't be shy to what makes you tick, what makes you get out of bed in the morning, whatever it is, went to somewhere and you were inspired by something or whatever it is. Don't feel like my kids can't get it, but maybe the kids get it even more than us because they're so pure. But this concept of two concepts. Number one, why are we learning this? Why are we learning this so close, the week of Yud Shvat? First of all, it's an opportunity to reflect on our relationship with a Rebbe and to understand that there's real holiness here, real special power here, and to have the kavod, to have the respect, to understand the holiness of a Rebbe, and from the age of 3 or even younger, from whatever, to be able to impart that to our children, and things that are not tangible, things that are above, that we could, of course, our children learn from our example, but that children that we should teach it to them, educate them, and teach them what holiness means, and give them that sensitivity. Give them that sensitivity that at the age of 3 they should understand that a candy could be holy. My daughter Miriam, she's 2 years old. So I put on this necklace, and she says, "Mommy, Rebbe necklace." I didn't even say that to her. I don't know, maybe she know that from Shayna, because Shayna, I was like, where'd you get that, kid? But yeah, that a child at the age of 2 could know that the mommy has a Rebbe necklace with a coin that she doesn't even know I don't know whatever. But there's a coin, this coin that I'm wearing that I didn't know was a thing until a couple of months ago, that I received from the Rebbe's hand on my 8th birthday. And so even for my daughter, there's someone that I know that does jewelry, that does fake jewelry. So I said, "Oh, could you do something with this coin?" She said, "If it's a holy coin, you get a real necklace. No fake stuff." I'm saying to value it, to appreciate it, and this. So basically, what I didn't get to, my husband's recommended that I should read a couple of stories here, but I really didn't get to it. But I'll just share one story from this book. and I'll share another story to explain to you what it means to educate children and what it means to be able to teach them this concept of holiness from such a young age. So this is a book about the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, and it's basically his like a biography, a kind of book. And it said, and the previous Rebbe says, when I was 4 years old, I asked my father, why did Hashem create a person to have two eyes? And why isn't one eye enough? Just like Hashem created one mouth and one nose. So the father answered, the Rebbe Rashab answered, do you know the Aleph base? So the boy said, of course, yes. So my father asked me, what's the difference between a shin and a sin? So he said the shin has a dot on the right side, and the sin has a dot on the left side. So my father said to me, there are things that you have to look at them with your right eye, with love and closeness. And then there are things you have to look at them with your left eye and push it away. A siddur and a Jew, you have to look at it with your right eye. And a candy and a toy, you have to look at it with your left eye. And from then it was engraved in my heart and in my mind, the concept of loving a fellow Jew, that every Jew, no matter who he is, you have to look at him with ayin yafeh, with a beautiful eye. This is what it means education. At the age of 4, that you could teach a child from a shin and a sin to look at a Jew with the right eye, no matter who he is. Another story when the
I think it's even also exposing your kids that they're other people. Like I see now, I take my nieces and nephews out. They are so not exposed. Someone said thank you because they held the door open. Okay. So she goes, she's 10, 9, 8. Why did they say thank you? I said, because you held the door. She goes, but I held it for myself. I said, so now you know, you hold it for somebody else. They say thank you. You know, I keep on repeating these different stories, and then I realize it's from Rabbi Ratberg. But someone was in an inn, and they were offering drinks for everybody, and then the Jew got up and they said, no, it's not for the Jews. And then food, no, but he kept on saying thank you, thank you. Then at the very end, he says to him, why'd you say thank you? He goes, because I own the restaurant. I own the bar. So basically, I didn't get it from you, you know? So joke on you. But so that's it. Like even thank yous, you realize that some kids are not exposed to people. They see a non-Jew and all of a sudden they comment, that non-Jew fills your gas tank, that non-Jew, or sometimes it is a Jew even, but just so that they realize that there are other people in this universe and you need to say thank you and please, and they're people. And how are they going to enhance our life, and how are we going to be polite to them, you know?
So interesting, I was away for Shabbos, and it was in the hotel, it was a peer organization, I think it was part of Project Inspire. A whole bunch of Hasidim from Williamsburg and Monsey, but mostly Williamsburg, learned with a group in Queens, Bukharian and Hasidim coming together. It was like, wasn't that many people, but it was so interesting, and they had this speaker. It's Rabbi Roy. He's part of an organization called Traveling Hasidim Bells. He's a Bells guy. He's from Manchester. And I said to his wife, like, why is he so open-minded? He really grew up in Manchester. His family became Hasidim. So he had this open-minded thing. And he said to them, he said, Matzah Shabbos, he goes, go tell your friends in the Bukharian community, your other Jews past Bukharians. And then he told the Hasidim in Williamsburg, go tell your friends in Williamsburg, the other Jews past Williamsburg. But it was just so funny how both sides need to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
So that's exactly what the lesson is. The lesson is that we should look past the surface. It was a lesson last time, it's the same lesson this time. That we have to teach our children that there's more than what the eye can see. To teach it to ourselves also, and that this concept of why should I say extra parak of Tehillim, or why should I but to bring more holy words into this world, to do another mitzvah. It's true I can't see what I accomplish, I can't see the extra parak of Tehillim, what it did, or how it helped the soldiers in Israel, or how whatever it is. But the concept is to be able to teach our children that there's holiness, that there's kedusha, that it's not just, and that we should behave in a holy way, that we are holy. Every single Jew is holy, to look beyond the surface, to look at the neshama of a Jew. The greatest non-Jew in the world doesn't come close, or is on a completely different plane than a Jew who's the biggest sinner. Because we're taught it's two different worlds. It's literally two different worlds. A Jew is purity. And a non-Jew comes from why is a Jew purity? Because he has that nefesh elokis, he has a godly soul, he has a chelek mamish. And no matter what you do, the Jew has a neshama which wants to cleave to Hashem, which is holy. He has infinity inside of him. The non-Jew just doesn't have that. So when we're aware that we're holy, start with ourselves. We're holy. We're special. We're and our children are holy. Our children are special, and every single Jew is holy and special. And every mitzvah that we do is holy and special. And the power that we have with everything that we come in contact with to make it holy, and to try as much as possible to bring as much power into the realm of holiness versus letting it sink into the world of unholiness. And as I ran out the door, this is actually kaishel bracha. And I didn't have a chance to make, to pour and make more. So either we'll ask Bela for some wine, or we'll just give everyone a little bit, and we could make l'chaim. And I forgot the most important point. The lesson was that why did the Tzemach Tzedek tell the Rebbe Rashab to eat the candy? Some of you said this. It was to take the kedusha and to internalize it. That it should become part of his flesh and blood, and should permeate his essence forever. That was what that's what we could do by having a little chaim. Take the wine, take the bracha, take the kedusha, and internalize it. That is the best thing, because we don't want to go into, we don't want such holiness to go into the hands of our enemies, and rather we should take the holiness and make it part of us. So we should have a little bit of l'chaim, and we should bench each other. That we should have Mashiach should come immediately, and everyone should have all the brachas in a revealed way in their life, and in Banei, in Chaim, in we should have nachas from our children, and parnasa, and health, and happiness, and success in all of our endeavors. And the main thing is that Mashiach should come, and we should just grow and appreciate the Torah that we have, and the opportunity that we have to make this world a holy place. And when Mashiach comes, this world will actually be. We'll actually see the holiness and everything that we did, and we should have, the darkness should turn into light, and the impurity should turn into purity, and we should just have Mashiach now.
Amen.
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 I read something with Rabbi Avigdor Miller in FJJ.